Hello everyone. In management account, today we will start the new chapter. The name of the chapter is cash budget. We have already understood the different types of budget in last video. I have already told you that we will discuss the cash budget and flexible budget in detail. So we will understand and learn about cash budget from today. Let's start the cash budget. We always start everything with the definition or the meaning. So we'll start this with the meaning. So we will see what is the meaning of cash budget. Cash budget shows cash receipts from all sources of business and all payments and also the resolved cash balance for a definite future time period. What it means? It means cash budget shows us that from which source we are getting how much income. So we will consider all the cash receipts from all the sources of business, and even we will consider all the payments or any resilient cash balance for a definite future time period. We always remember any budget we are making that is for future only. So for future purpose, we are making the cash budget or any budget. So in cash budget, we will consider the income of cash and the outgoing of the cash. Matlab incoming of cash and outgoing of the cash for the definite period. Okay, let's go further. Everything is contains advantage as well as disadvantage. So here also cash budget contains advantages as well as difficulties. So we will see one by one. First advantage is planned use of cash. If we are making the cash budget in our business, we can utilize the cash according to our plan. Means we can do planning that where and how much cash will be utilized, because from the cash budget we will come to know that okay, in this month we are having the excess money, excess cash, or we are having the less cash. So whenever, in whichever month, if we are having the excess cash, we can plan to utilize that cash. Okay, so this is called planned use of cash. Second advantage is provision for capital expenditure. If we are having the enough cash balance in that month, we can plan or we can do the provision for capital expenditure. We all know that in accountancy there are two types of expenditure. One is capital expenditure and second is revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure we are doing daily basis. In routine work, we are spending money for the revenue expenditure. But capital expenditure needs a planning because it needs a lot of cash. It needs a big amount of cash. So we have to do the provision. We have to make provision for that capital expenditure. And if we are making the cash budget, we can easily provide provision for capital expenditure. The third benefit or advantage is investment of surplus funds. If we are having any surplus funds in any month, then we can think about the investment of that surplus funds. Because in business, money should be rotated. If money is rotating, then we can earn more. But if money is not rotating, like if money stucks, then we cannot having the profit or more profit. So if we are making the cash budget, we came to know that when we are having the surplus of funds, how much surplus of funds is there. So we can do the temporary investment, or we can decide the tenure according to the cash budget, that okay, for how many months we want to invest. We can, like this way, we can invest of surplus funds. The next advantage is dividend policy. According to the cash budget, management can plan that how much dividend they will declare or how much dividend they are able to give. If the cash situation is very nice, is very sound, then company can rise their dividend rate. But if company finds that okay, its cash budget is showing a lack of money, then they can decrease the dividend rate. So by this way, from the cash budget, management can decide the dividend policy. Next benefit is profitable use of cash. From the cash budget, we will come to know that what is our cash balance. So whenever we are having a good cash balance, we can utilize in that manner or in such a manner that it can be profitable. As an example, if we are having a proper cash balance, then instead of credit purchase, we can do cash purchase and we can have the discount of cash purchase. So by this way, we can use our cash profitably. The next benefit is timely payment of debts. If we are having a certain cash balance, we can know from the cash budget that whenever we are having the cash excess or cash lake, so according to that we can plan a payment of our debts. And if we are making the plan of our debt payments according to the cash budget, then we can be very punctual in paying off our debts. So this is also one good advantage of cash budget, that we can do timely payment of our debts. Then our next advantage is arrangement for obtaining funds. In For us, if we are making a cash budget, then it is very convenient to obtain funds. We can easily arrange we can easily arrange the funds, because we know when we need the cash, so we can have the proper time limitation for the arrangement of obtaining funds. We don't have to just rush at emergency level, because we are having the cash budget, so we know that when we need a huge amount of cash, so we can easily arrangement on the prior basis that how much funds we need and how much funds we will have to obtain. Then the last benefit of cash budget is useful for control. What is the expense and income according to the cash budget? We can compare the actual expenses and incomes with the cash budget. So we can easily know that where we are spending a high amount and where we are spending a unnecessary amount. So we can control. So these are the advantages of cash budget that can be very useful for us, that how many ways cash budget is being useful for us. Now everything comes with their pros and cons. So same way, even cash budget has some difficulties. So let's understand what is the difficulty. Estimates are difficult. It is very difficult to estimate about expense or income, because every day the situation is changing, and we can say that future is unpredictable. So we cannot do the exact estimates. And if estimates are difficult, then our cash budget will be very efficient. That is very difficult. We cannot say that, okay, our cash budget is very efficient. Then, second difficulty is carelessness in implementation. Any idea, until it is not implemented, it is useless or it is worthless. Same way, cash budget is very useful in routine, but if we can implement that in our day-to-day life, then only it is useful for us. If we are not careful about implementation of cash budget, then it will not help us in any way, because it will be just paperwork only. It will just become a paperwork only. It will not it will not be useful for us practically. So implementation is very necessary, and mostly we find it difficult when carelessness is there for implementation. Then next difficulty is rigidity. Somewhere management is very rigid, that okay, according to cash budget only you have to do expenses, but sometime you may require to do expense in other than the cash budget, and if you will not do that, you will not get benefit. But if you will stick to the cash budget only, and if you apply a rigid, uh, you can say that if you apply a rigid behavior, then it will be very difficult for business. Expensive. Every budget, whenever we want to make the budget making process, it needs a expert knowledge is very essential. Nobody can easily make a budget. So if we need experts, then we have to hire the skill and expert persons, and for that we have to spend a lot. So it is it will be very expensive for the small firms. So small firms cannot afford to make cash budget or make any budget in practically. So these are the four difficulties. These are the four difficulties which we are having in cash budget. Okay? So let's go further, and we will learn about methods of preparing cash budget. By how many methods we can prepare a cash budget? So first method is receipts and payments method. Receipts and payment methods contains, we will prepare a table which contains all the cash receipts and all the cash payments. Then we will deduct the cash payment from the cash receipts, and we can get easily the cash balance. This is the very easiest way to prepare a cash budget. Second is adjusted earning method. Adjusted earning method means, see, in profit and loss account, the net profit will cannot show the exact cash balance, because profit and loss account contains many expenses which actually are not paid by cash. We can say any provision, any depreciation. So these are the expenses which is not related with the cash, but though they can affect on the net profit. So adjusted earning method means, in that method we are adding the cashless expenses, and we are deducting the cashless incomes from the net profit, and by that way we can get the exact cash balance. The third method is balance sheet method. In this method, we are making the balance sheet every month. We can say that it is very rough balance sheet we are making every month. In this balance sheet, we are not doing any adjustments in uh, fixed assets, and then we will find out difference of liabilities and asset side every month, and then we can find out the difference, that is cash balance, because other than that fixed assets are fixed. Even we are not doing any adjustments with the fixed liabilities also. We can say that share capital also, if there any cash related transaction is there, the difference is cash balance we can find. But in this method it is very difficult. We can get only a cash balance. We cannot predict about the expenses and about the incomes. So this method will be very less useful for us for knowing any expenses or any revenues of future. Then the next method, the last method, is working capital differential method. In this way, we are finding the working capital every month. Then whatever the difference we will find, we are making the working capital statement on the starting of the month and on the end of the month, and then we will compare both working capital structure statement. Then whatever difference we find, we can find that okay, this is the difference of cash balance. So this way also we can make a cash budget. So these are the four methods. Usually we will calculate the sum by using the first method, that is receipts and payments method. In that method we can easily know that this is the statement of cash budget. Here we have to make the columns like particulars, then the column of months like January, February, March, any months, whichever we want to find out the, for whichever month we want to make the cash budget. In this month, cash budget, first we have to write the opening cash balance. First we will write down the opening cash balance, then we will add receipts. We will add receipts, cash receipts. That can be cash sales, collection from debtors, receipts from bills receivable, interest and dividend, sale of fixed asset, receipts from loan debenture, receipts from share issues, other receipts. These many receipts can be added in the opening cash balance. Then will find out total receipts, that we will say A. So A will be indicate total receipts. Then we list payments. That payments can be cash purchases, payment to creditors, wages and salaries, administrative expenses, selling expenses, purchase of fixed assets, repayment of loan, payment of taxes, other payments. These can be deducted in the payments, and then we will do the total of payments, that can be indicated by B. For finding closing cash balance, we will deduct B from A, means we will do A minus B. Then we'll find out the closing cash balance. Okay, so this is the pro forma of cash budget. From next video lecture, we will start the sum of cash budget. Till that, if you find any difficulties, you can ask me. Thank you.